Good evening, everyone. Hi, I'm Peter Trego, and welcome to the Clubhouse. Obviously, on the Clubhouse, we love talking sport, and what a better time to do it than a Friday night, reflecting on our first week back from lockdown and looking on to the weekend and the future weeks. Tonight, I have joining me former Bath, England, and now Gloucester rugby superstar Matt Banahan, and well, what could be said for Somerset County Cricket Club's absolute stalwart, superstar, T20 leg spin bowler, and golfed it, Max Waller. Hi, guys.
Hi, Matt Triggs.
How's it going, mate?
How are you, fellas? How are you doing?
Yeah, a bit better. Obviously, Liverpool won the Premiership last night, so it was a good one, but nice. I'm in week 2 of another mini pre-season at the moment, so legs are feeling it, but it's good to be back.
Yes, why not? Let's dive straight into it. Obviously, a Liverpool fan, 30 years since the last league title. Obviously, both of you today are celebrating enormous sporting achievements. Liverpool winning the Champions League and Max Waller holding a 6-foot putt at Oak Manor Golf Club in Taunton to beat me and Ian Blackwell. Probably your sporting achievement of your life, isn't it, Maxie?
The second time in a week, mate. It's getting a bit of a habit at the moment, so I'm enjoying playing you at golf.
Yeah, we won't mention that you're an Arsenal fan, but obviously coming to you, Banners, obviously being a Liverpool man there, actually it's like, I feel like a vampire looking into the sun, seeing that shirt in front of me, to be fair, as a United fan. But let's be honest, your lads certainly deserved that Premier League title this year, didn't they?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Like, I'm not a fan who's biased. I'll look at it from the outset of thinking how powerful Man City were over the previous couple of years. I actually thought we would be stronger next year because I thought Man City still had a season in their players being so strong, and then they'd probably want to move other challenges. But obviously, the run we went on with the unbeaten run and then winning the Champions League and then coming back in again this season and getting on another run, and then Man City getting a few injuries and not picking up the wins they want, it sort of everything was start to align. And you think, is it going to happen this year? And everybody who doesn't support Liverpool like, no, you're going to choke again. You're going to choke again. And when the lockdown happened, you're thinking it could actually just be another one where it's just something going to stop us. But fortunately enough, everybody's got back playing. And then our first game against Everton, I thought, oh, we might be fit, but we look like we're just going to try and play to the end of the season and win it. And then Man City's first game, I think, was at Burnley, 5-0. They looked absolutely unreal. And then we came back and played Crystal Palace and we were back. And I thought, I didn't think Chelsea would do it as they did. I thought it'd come down to us going to the Etihad and having to get a result there, which would have been good. But fair play to Klopp and the boys. And we've got doctors and physios at our place that know there. Some of the doctors and physios at Liverpool, and it's a whole backroom staff. And as yourself at Somerset, when you won the competitions, it's not just the boys on the pitch. It goes from the roots of everybody at the club. And I think that's what everybody from every supporting of a sports club can see.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, Jurgen Klopp's dentist must be cleaning up that grin all over the place. He's got a fair old set of gnashes as well, hasn't he? I love it, seeing how enthusiastic he is on the sideline with those great big roast beef hanging out. Unbelievable. I love an animated manager, and I don't think there's many more than Klopp. But obviously on the flip side, you've got an Arsenal fan with us, Maxie. The viewing experience of watching the Premier League football now, no crowd. So I personally think I'm really struggling with it. Like, if it looks like you're watching a testimonial match at the moment. Are you Sky Sports 1 with the fake sound, or are you watching it as it's supposed to be? Which are you going for?
I've definitely got to have sound on. There's got to be some sort of background noise. Hearing the guys shouting to each other, it feels like a club game. I'm definitely a sound man. But it doesn't matter whether you watch Arsenal with sound or without sound. It's still it's not much fun at the moment.
Yeah, to be fair, all you can hear in the Arsenal games is, David Luiz, no, what are you doing?
Get him off. They signed another year deal. They've signed him on again, which is ridiculous, really.
Are you, as an Arsenal fan, a fan of the re-signing of Luiz, or would you pass him by?
No, he's a car crash waiting to happen. He's more dangerous to us than he is for opposition. We need to get rid quickly.
just what you want with your centre back. As we were talking on the golf course the other day, Banners, the centre back, the rock of the team, Virgil Van Dijk. I mean, is he really the key for Liverpool's success over the last couple of years, and in particular this Premier League win?
Well, I think he is a massive part of it. But from the performance of the first game, I actually think some of the main parts of it are to have Trent and Robertson on the pitch at the same time. In the first game, when it was just Trent, we only had access down the right side. And then going against Crystal Palace, we had both of them on, which then showed that it was a lot harder for teams to follow us. He's obviously the glue that puts them all together, but the rest of them work so well off him. And you go through the team, like I spoke to you earlier about the great Man United teams that they had in the past. They had a good centre-back, a good centre midfield, and a good striker. And there's a spine, and you look at sort of Liverpool now with Van Dijk, you can toss Fabinho in the middle or Henderson, and then you got Firmino up front, and that's a spine, and they work off them. Even when you look at great teams, we can even go back to Arsenal back in the day when Adams, Vieira, Henry. There's a very fine margin that you have to get well down the middle of the park, and then you work off that. But he's obviously a massive part of it. But there's everybody plays their own part in to winning a title.
Yeah, like I said, it's sad to say, but it does look like Liverpool have got a lot of their bases covered at the moment. Hopefully that things will change. You never know. But moving on to our respective sports, obviously, Max, both of us cricketers, we've had some great news that we're going to start training 1st of July. So we're back in action. We're yet to see how that's going to look and yet to experience. But Matt, as you said, you're a couple of weeks into a pre-season. Just give the rugby fans out there just a little bit of a glimpse of what it's like to do a pre-season. I'm assuming the contact side of things, is it changed? How different it is? I mean, this is a unique situation for all of us, but in particular, a contact sport like rugby. Just describe what pre-season's like for you.
Yeah, normally we would go in on a usual pre-season. We'd all be there, all training, all 50 of us, all side by side, wrestling, fighting, tackling. But obviously, with what's going on at the moment, we're in small pods, no bigger pods than I think 7 or 8 in a time. And you either train Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and you have an allocated time, and you're not allowed to turn up to the club till the other group people have left. So it's all very strange because we still can't tackle each other, we can't touch each other, and you're just running in lanes. It's a great time to get fit if you're classing as pre-season. When the government then change it and we can start tackling and doing one-on-one stuff, then it'll sort of evolve. But at the same time, we're thinking we're taking it as another pre-season. It's time just to get fit and enjoy it, and hopefully that the date that they've said of August the 15th is going to be stuck to, and that's when we can get back playing games.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's quite an obvious thing with the contact with rugby that there are going to be some sort of coronavirus-based issues. But obviously, Maxi, very much different. Obviously, there's a lot of amateur cricketers out there that are scratching their heads, confused why they can't play. But obviously, us cricketers are known for licking our balls, aren't we? So that's going to be a bit of a contentious problem. How do you see things changing as we evolve through the game? I've seen things in the press about, sprays for the ball, all that sort of stuff. Have you heard anything that I haven't?
No, I just heard that sweat's now going to be allowed for shining the ball. I don't think you can use splits or anything. But I think it's a good thing that we're moving forward and looking like we're going to play some cricket. What that looks like, I don't know if it's red ball or white ball, but it looks like it's going to be some cricket in early August. The schedule's obviously yet to be decided, but whether the ball's you're allowed to shine the ball or not is I don't think that's the end of the world. Whereas, especially for me in white ball cricket, it goes pretty soft quickly. So yeah, it might affect the 4-day players a bit more.
Bit irrelevant for a spinner, I suppose. But obviously, the West Indies are in town. Obviously, the Test match starting very soon. How do you see that series going? I mean, like I said, it's absolutely crucial for the game as a whole to have this international season underway, up and running. But do you see England's chances? Are they big favourites?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're going to be too strong for the West Indies. Obviously, the guys haven't played much cricket recently, so it's going to be strange coming out of with not much preparation, and they're not really used to that. But I see it going England's way, really. It's a 3 Test match series, I think, isn't it? Starting Old Trafford, is that right? Which will be, yeah.
I think there's a couple of games down at the Rose Bowl. I mean, like I said, my head's spinning with the amount of information, the amount of Zoom meetings we've been having. Like I said, all the process you have to go through. Obviously, Matt, turning up at the ground, are you having to have the temperature checks and all those kind of things on a daily basis?
Yeah, first thing that we have to do as soon as we wake up is fill in a form on an app on our phone. And if somebody's forgotten to do that by the time they've got to the club, they're not even allowed out inside the club. They've got to turn around and sent straight away. And then you get your temperature check, and if you pass that, you're straight into it. But if you show any signs at home, or you think just to stay at home, because obviously being in a team where people are so close, it can be like a sort of a multiplier very quickly because you're around so many people. So you're better off being safe at the time and looking after yourself, and that will be looking after others.
I think we can all safely agree that, the safest environment for the three of us at the moment is actually on the golf course. How is the golf? Obviously, you mentioned we're all going to be training in these little pods. Have you managed to negotiate the midweek Stableford into your training schedule, the two of you?
Well, I don't know what the schedule looks like yet, but they've said you're going to be available 7 days a week, which is a bit frustrating for the weekend of Stableford. But yeah, hopefully you get some afternoons off to have a swing. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
get weekends off, so I'm all right.
You're happy days. You're going to be both, scratch golfers anytime soon. But thinking about the golf side of things, obviously they're into their second week on the PGA Tour. How have you found the viewing side of it? We're all in this position now where we're used to playing sport in front of, thousands of people cheering, booing, clapping, all that kind of stuff. Are you struggling with the viewing side of it? I certainly am. I just can't get my head around it. But playing, could you imagine playing a game for Gloucester Rugby or Somerset Cricket, respectively? Out there like nobody cares.
It's going to feel a bit.
I'm
just going to feel a bit like a pre-season. I think that vibe at the ground, it's empty ground. Obviously, competition-wise, when you're on the field, I don't think that changes too much mindset-wise. But it's very strange. I definitely think sport's got to play with the crowd. It makes it so much more entertaining. But I think as a player, you just got to crack on and do what you need to do.
Banners, what do you think, mate? Are you in the zone when you play rugby, or do you need that crowd up behind you to get you fired up?
In my eyes, you still get paid the same to perform, and if there's nobody there or there's 10,000 plus there, you still want to perform. It's up your own levels and your own honesty, which is going to make you play well and perform at the best. Whilst, like I said, watching the golf at the moment on PGA, it's interesting because when you play, I've spoken to a couple of boys who play on tour. If you're not winning or near the leaderboard, you end up going around 4 hours walking around by yourself anyway. So the only people who really get followed are the leaders. But I think the PGA Tour have not got it wrong, but they're still obviously letting a lot of people in who they could probably do the tournament with a couple of less people, because the cameramen are up on high gantries. They don't need to be seen. You could have one ref covering a couple of holes, but it seems like they're letting the players in, the caddies in, a coach in, and then there's multiple. The coach would coach multiple players, and then it's just a very sort of uncomfortable position you can put in, and you can see why people like Brooks and Chase Koepka have then withdrawn from this week's competition.
I suppose the concern is that, everyone's talking about that dreaded second spike, especially with, your rugby season just about to get underway, our cricket season about to finally start. It would absolutely be a nail in the coffin for the seasons if we got this spike or second spike that people are talking about. Those days on Weston-super-Mare Beach and, the Brighton Beach and Bournemouth the other day, you just wish that everyone would show a bit of common sense, don't you, really? But like I said, one thing I've learned in my near 40 years is common sense is not so common. Isn't that true, fellas?
Very true.
I thought I saw you down at Weston with your Speedos on, Trigg. Is that not you? Oh.
Well, yeah, but they were camouflage thong ones, so I'm pretty sure no one saw them. Right, going slightly off our own sports, one of the biggest hot topics during lockdown has been Michael Jordan mania, The Last Dance. Did you guys catch up with that, Maxie? What were your thoughts? I see you've got a Miami Heat basketball cap on, so you're obviously a massive basketball fan.
Yeah,
You're
baller, mate, absolute baller.
You're definitely the build for a basketball player. Did you enjoy the series? What did you think?
Yeah, very inspiring. Went down really well. I've actually watched it twice. I loved it so much. Yeah, it's incredible. It's sort of a little bit before my time, but when I was like sort of 8, 9, so growing up, didn't really know. I love the film Space Jam, but didn't know too much about MJ himself. But actually watching it back, yeah, it was really interesting to see. And actually watched Space Jam again as well. Space Jam was on Netflix recently, so I had another watch of that. It's quite nostalgic. But yeah, no, really enjoyed the documentary. Very inspiring. And yes, there's some good players around him. Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman. Phil Jackson, the coach, was brilliant with them. He let Rodman off the leash a couple of times, which helped the team. Yeah, he's a brilliant manager. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And Jordan obviously is a different gravy.
I thought man of the match personally was Carmen Electra. To be honest, she was absolutely on top form. Banners, you obviously watched the series. I know we talked about it, but have you come across any sort of characters similar to that in that MJ mold? Obviously, you play a much more physical sport than cricket. Have you experienced anyone like MJ in the training side of things?
The only one would sort of two probably to come to it is Martin Johnson and Jonny Wilkinson. Obviously, I was fortunate enough to play with Jonny, and at that time, Martin was the head coach of England. And the way people said it is because it's such a physical sport. If somebody puts their body on the line and talks a good game, you just got to follow them in. And when Jono's giving these talks before matches, you know that if he had an opportunity to lace up his boots again, he'd be flying in there, and you do your absolute utmost for him. And with Jonny, he just let his skills do the talking. He'd say the right thing at the right time, but absolute pure professionalism from him. And that's why he's probably one of the world's best 10s that's ever played the game. And then you see him go over to France and win the Heineken Cup with Toulon and give the halftime team talk in French. They can still translate the passion of sport in a different language. And those two probably are characters that you'd come out with and say that they have that very similar mold. Obviously, America's different with the money and how everything else goes with it, because the money that those boys are talking in, 81, 82 is still a lot more money than rugby players have ever dreamed of at the moment.
Yeah, I struggled to feel sorry for Scottie Pippen on a measly 9 million a year. It was like, God, get me mid-violin out. Sorry, lad. I said, you should have had a look at my first cricket contract. I got £30 a day.
Oh.
But then again, that was probably in 1970 something.
Yeah.
No, right. One last thing that I'd love to ask both of you, being on obviously two different sports, but both very passionate people on and off the field. Pre-match routines, something that obviously The Last Dance really, really made me interested to see such a high-performing team. You know, their 3-2-1 go balls and all that kind of stuff. Maxie, pre-game. What's your demeanor like? What's your mindset when you're going into a big one-day match in front of a full house at Taunton?
I like to feel comfortable before I'm going out. So I actually, preparation-wise, I have a long bowl at the batters. That gets me, I guess, prepared for the game from what the batter's looking to do as well. Rather than a lot of people just go and bowl into a mitt or bowl into a cone, but I actually like preparing against batters. So I'll generally be out there for an hour, 2 hours before the start, bowling a lot, and effectively I'm only bowling four overs or 10 overs, which is a lot of balls. But I bowl plenty more than that at the start just to feel comfortable. And then trying to go in with as much confidence as possible, I guess, is the key. Generally been starting the games in T20 recently, bowling the first over. So looking to get the ball in my hand as soon as possible, really, and get going. And
obviously, being a bowler, you've got batsmen coming at you, but banners, you got 20 stone, really fast blokes flying at you, something that I can't comprehend. How do you mentally get up for that physical challenge? Is there anything you do pre-match just to get yourself fizzed up?
It's so hard nowadays because when you think back at it, and I've been playing it now 16 years, my father always taught me, you just go out and do your basics, and you do your basics as best as you can, and when you're playing against the opposite number, you
You just make sure you make every one of your tackles, you make him miss one against you. And that's all I've ever really focused on is my basics. I break my game down to 3 areas. I try and win every high ball that I win. I win the contacts that I win, and I try and be the smartest player on the pitch, just because I like to think about a lot of things. And if I can get at least 2 of those, I'll know I'll have a good game. Sometimes the ball doesn't even come to you on the wing. You can stand there and be close to hypothermia. But as long as I'm still learning the game, been in it 16 years, going to what do I do before the game? I could do anything. If I have a home game, I normally go play 9 holes in the morning or go to the driving range. It just clears your mind. You don't think about it, because when you go play at King's Home or any other side, and there's 15,000 up to 30,000 now in the league, and people are shouting at you, you want to not be thinking about it for 24/7 the game. You've got to have a clear mind and some time for yourself, and then bang some music on and just drift away, and not till the whistles for the start of the game goes do I really focus.
I'm sure that would definitely work for you, but the thought of me being the smartest bloke on the field, that's a terrifying thought for the other bloke on the field, to be fair. But guys, it's been awesome to chat with you this evening. Obviously, I wish you both well in I wish you a load of luck in your coming up season. Maxie, now that we're going to be opposition, I wish you a little bit of luck, but obviously not against Nottinghamshire. So, guys, thank you very much for joining me on the Clubhouse. I hope you've enjoyed your time. Well done to Liverpool. Well done to Arsenal for the re-signing of David Luiz. I'm sure you're over the moon, Maxie. And I'll PayPal you over that tenner from today's golf. Cheers, fellas.
Cheers.
And thanks to everyone for joining into this episode of the Clubhouse. Great talking to guys getting ready to come out of lockdown and hit their seasons hard. If you've enjoyed, please interact on social media and get involved. The Clubhouse. Cheers.